Osho, The Art of Dying, Talks on Asceticism, given at the Osho Commune International, Pune, India. Discourse number 8.
Bhagavan, who are you? And what type of play you are playing with us? And how long you will play? Please explain. To be frank with you, which usually I am not. I don't know who I am. Because knowledge is not possible there where I am. There is only the knower left. The known has disappeared. Only the container. The content is no more. For knowledge to exist, a great division is needed in reality. The knower and the known, and between the two happens knowledge. The known is a must for knowledge to happen. Now the space I am in is absolutely undivided, indivisible. Knowledge is not possible. So, to be exact, I don't know. And I would like you also to come to this innocent ignorance, to this state of not knowing. Because the state of not knowing is the highest state of knowing, not of knowledge, mind you, but of knowing. And this knowing is contentless. Not that you know something. There is nothing to know. You simply are. I am. But I don't know who. All identities have disappeared. Just a tremendous emptiness is left behind. I call it emptiness because you are full of identities. Otherwise, it is absolute presence, not emptiness, not absence. But the presence of something which by its very nature is a mystery and cannot be reduced to knowledge. So I don't know who I am. But I am tremendously content in this not knowing. And whosoever has ever come to this door of not knowing has laughed at all knowledge and the stupidity that goes on in the name of knowledge. Knowledge is mediocre. To be in the state of not knowing is intelligence. It is awareness. It is non-accumulative. Each moment, that which happens disappears. It leaves no trace behind, no existential trace. one comes out of it again pure, again innocent, again like a child. I am a child on the seesaw of time, collecting seashells, colored stones. But I am tremendously fulfilled. I know not who I am because I am not. When I say I am not, I mean the I has no more any relevance. I use the word. Obviously, I have to use it. And there is nothing in the world to be against it. But it is no more relevant to my inner world. It is still of use with you, but when I am alone, I am not. When I am with you, then this word I has to be used as a communicative device. But when I'm alone, I'm not. Aloneness is there. Amness is there, but the I is not. So who should know and whom? First I told you the content has disappeared. Now I would like to tell you, because the more you get ready and receptive, the more I can tell to you, the container has also disappeared. Because the container is meaningful only with the content. Without the content, what is the meaning of the word container? The content and the container both are not there. Something is, tremendously is, absolutely is, but there is no name to it. In love, you call this space Bhagwan. And in deep respect, I also call it Bhagwan. Just the other night, I was reading a letter in Courage, and the letter writer has asked me, who has appointed you as a Bhagwan? Now, Bhagwan cannot be appointed. And if somebody appoints somebody Bhagwan, then the appointer will be the Bhagwan, not the appointed. It is a recognition. It is a realization. And Bhagwan simply means all that we call worldly is no more there. That's all. The desires to possess, to be possessed, the desire to accumulate, the desire to cling, the desire to be, the libido, the lust for life has disappeared. When this desire disappears, when the smoke of the desire disappears and only the flame remains in its purity, who is going to appoint? Who is there to appoint? It is not an appointment. Or if you love the word very much, then I will say, It is a self-appointment. But that too is not very meaningful. It is a declaration. Now the letter right wants me to say who. Nobody can decide who I am. Nobody can call me who I am. This is my declaration. Because only I know what has happened within me. Nobody else can know it. Unless you also come to that state of being divine. And the state is hiding behind you. Any moment you are courageous enough to enter into it, you will be also a God. And then only you will recognize me. Not before it. I also call this space in tremendous respect Bhagavan. The word Bhagavan is very beautiful. The English word God is not that much beautiful. Bhagavan simply means the Blessed One. That's all. The Blessed One. And I declare myself to be the Blessed One. And I declare only so that you can also gain it. And you can also strive for it. So my presence can become a dream in you. So that my presence can invoke a journey in you. So my presence can create a fire in you. Fire that will burn you and through which you are going to be reborn too. Fire that is going to destroy you, annihilate you utterly, and yet out of it you will come absolutely new, with no identity, with no name, with no form. I have declared myself Bhagavan because I would like you also to come to this recognition. You have forgotten the language. Unless somebody exists in front of you as a reality, not as a concept. Not only in the scriptures, Krishna exists in the Gita. Christ exists in the Bible. They may have been, they may not have been. Nobody can be certain. I am just here confronting you. If you are courageous to open towards me, suddenly a sprout will start coming into being in your seed. You will start growing in an unknown dimension. To make that dimension available to you, I declare myself Bhagavan. This is nobody else's business. But I can declare myself Bhagavan only because I am not. Only one who is not can call himself the Blessed One. Because if you are, you remain miserable. Your very being is your misery. Hell is not somewhere else. Hell is the confined state. Hell is the miserable state when you live with an I. To live in the ego is to live in the hell. You ask me in what type of play you are playing with us. Certainly it is a play. I am not serious. And if you are serious, there is not going to be any meeting with you. Seriousness does not cross my path at all. I am absolutely non-serious. This is a play. And I would like to call this play the mad game. The word mad I have coined. M stands for the master, and D stands for the disciple. Master and disciple game. It is a mad game. I am an expert in being a master. If you are also ready to become a disciple, here we go. And it is none of the business of anybody else. It is a game between me and you. If you decide to be a disciple, as I have decided to be a master, then we can play the game. And those who have decided to be disciples, they are enjoying tremendously. Once you decide to be a disciple, you enter into another world. A totally different world of the heart, of love, of trust. Then it is play. You are not serious, but still you are very sincere. And never misunderstand seriousness for sincerity. Sincerity is very playful, never serious. True, authentic, but never serious. Sincerity has not a long face. It is bubbling with joy, radiating with an inner joyousness. Rejoice that I am here. If you decide to be a disciple, then only you can understand what I am doing here. You can understand this mad game, this madly mad game. It is a play. In fact, the ultimate game in life. You have played many other games. This is the last. You have played being a lover, being a friend, being a father, being a husband, being a wife, mother, father, being rich, being poor, being a leader, being a follower. You have played all the games. And only those who have played all the games can play this game, because they will be mature enough to play it. This is the last game. After this game stops. Gaming stops. Once you have played rightly the game, the master-disciple game, by and by, you come to a point where all playing disappears. Only you are left. Neither the master nor the disciple exists there. This is just a device. Between the master and the disciple, if the rule of the game is followed rightly, devotion arises. That is the fragrance, the river that flows between these two banks of the master and the disciple. That's why it is so difficult for the outsiders to understand. But I am not interested at all for the outsiders to understand it. It is a very esoteric game. It is only for the insiders. It is only for mad people. That's why I am not interested even in answering people who are not insiders, because they will not understand. They are not at that altitude of being where understanding can become possible. Just see if two chess players are playing and you don't know what chess is and you start asking questions. They will simply say, "Shut up." First you go and learn the game. It is a complicated game. And chess is nothing when you start this mad game. Your whole life, your emotions, your feelings, your intellect, your body, mind, soul, everything is involved. It is at stake. It is the last gamble. So only those who are insiders, they can understand. Outsiders will always feel uncomfortable about it. They don't know the language. I am not here playing the game of a priest. I am not here playing the game of a prophet. In fact, the prophet is nothing but politician in disguise. The language of the prophet is the language of the politician. Of course, in the name of religion. The prophet is revolutionary. He wants to change the world, the whole world, to his heart's desire. I have no plans for changing the world. It's perfectly good as it is. And it is going to remain as it is. All the prophets have failed. That game is doomed to be a failure. I am not the priest because I don't belong to any religion. I simply belong to religion as such. I am not a Jew, I am not a Hindu, I am not a Christian, I am not a Mohammedan, I am not a Jaina. I don't belong to any religion. So I am not a priest. I am not a preacher. I simply love pure religion, adjectiveless. Let me tell you one anecdote. Mr. and Mrs. Goldberg had scrimped and saved to put their eldest son through college. At last they had the money and decided to send him to a fine highbrow Eastern boarding school. They saw him off on the train and tearfully bade him farewell. A few months later he returned home for the Christmas holidays. The parents were overjoyed to have their son Sammy back with them. The mother greeted him with, "Samila, it is so good to see you." "Mother," replied the son, "stop calling me Samila. After all, I am a grown-up man now, and I do wish you refer me as Samuel." She apologized and asked, "I hope you ate kosher foods while you were away." "Mother, we are living in a modern world, and it is preposterous to hang on the old world traditions. I indulge in all types of food, kosher and non-kosher, and believe me, you would be better off if you did." "Well, tell me, did you at least go to the synagogue to offer a prayer of thanks occasionally?" The son replied, "Really, do you honestly feel going to a synagogue when you are associating with a large percentage of non-Jews is the proper thing to do?" "Honestly, mother, it is unfair to ask it of me, really." At this point, Mrs. Goldberg, fighting back anger, looked at her eldest son and said, "Tell me, Samuel, are you still circumcised?" "I am not interested whether you are circumcised or not. I am not interested whether you are a Jew, Hindu, Christian, Mohammedan. To me, that sort of thing is sheer stupidity. I am not teaching you any religion. My whole effort or my whole play here is to make you aware of the reality as it is. To make you aware of the facts, not to give you any fantasy about it. To make you aware of the truth, not to give you any theory about it. I am not a theoretician. I am not a theologist. In fact, theology has killed God. And so many religions have created such confusion in the minds of people that rather than helping, they have been harmful and poisonous. Rather than helping people to be religious, they have created great politics in the name of religion, great violence, conflict, hatred in the name of religion. To me, religion simply means a dimension of love. I am here to see you the beauty of living, the grandeur that surrounds. From that very grandeur, you will have your first glimpses of God. I am here to seduce you into a love of life, to help you to become a little more poetic, to help you drown your head into your heart, to help you down to the mundane and the ordinary, so that the extraordinary explodes in your life. But this is possible only if you decide to be a disciple. Sannyas is a great agreement, a covenant. When I initiate you into sannyas, I am initiating you into the world of my play. And if you are ready to go with me, great doors are waiting for you to be opened. But those doors are not of the mosque, of the church, of the Gurudwara and the temple. Those doors are of life itself. Life is the only shrine of God. And to be playful about it is the only prayer. Who are you? And what type of play you are playing with us? And how long you will play? It is not a question of time. If you decide to be a disciple, it can go on and on. In the body and out of the body. With the mind and without the mind. In life and in death. Within life and beyond life. This game is an eternal game. That's why I call it the ultimate game. Those who decided to play with Christ, they are still playing. On new planets, on new plenitudes. It continues. Those who decided to play with Buddha are still playing. The game is so beautiful, so eternal. Who wants to stop it? I may not be here in the body, but that will be a loss only to those who were not close to me. That will be a loss only to those who were not courageous enough to be with me. When I am gone out of the body, it is not going to be a loss to you if you have been really a disciple. The game will continue. I will remain available. You will remain available. It is a question of the heart. It is a question of consciousness. And consciousness knows no time. Consciousness is beyond time. Consciousness is timelessness. So the question is meaningful from some outsider, but then I will not answer it. The question is meaningless from an insider, and only then I can answer it. If you are an insider, you know there is a beginning to this play, there is no end to it. You have entered into something which is going to last forever. Bhagwan, please explain. A game has to be played, not to be explained. Because if you explain it, it loses all charm. Come, be a partner. Get involved into it. There are a few things which cannot be explained. In the very explanation, they die. For example, a joke cannot be explained. That's the beauty of a joke. Either you understand it or you don't understand it. If you ask, please explain, it cannot be explained. If somebody explains it and it becomes completely clear to you, there will come no laughter out of it. Because the joke, when suddenly dawns on your being, then there is laughter. When there is a jump, a quantum leap, then there is laughter. You were going on one plane, the story was moving on one plane. Then suddenly, such an unexpected turn that you could not have imagined, that very turn that you could not have imagined gives it beauty. That very turn shocks you. That very turn releases your tension that was building up. You were going in a suspicion, what is going to happen? What is going to happen? And everything was going just ordinary. And then a sudden extraordinary turn to the story. The punchline has to be a sudden turn. Then the build-up tension relaxes. You start moving. That tension is released, explodes. But if somebody explains you, dissects a joke logically, explains you everything as it is, and you have understood it, then the joke has disappeared. The joke has to be enjoyed, not understood. And this whole world is a cosmic joke. If you try to understand it, you will miss. That's how philosophers have always been missing. They have been trying to solve it. They have been trying to look for clues. It has no clues. It is a sheer mystery. It has no keys and no locks. It is available if you are available. But a mind who wants to understand it becomes tense and becomes unavailable. Don't try to understand life, live it. Don't try to understand love. Move into love. And you will know. And that knowing will come out of your experiencing. And that knowing will never destroy the mystery. The more you will know, the more mysterious life becomes. The more you know, much remains to be known. Life is not a problem. To look at it as a problem is to take a wrong step towards it. It is a mystery to be lived, loved, experienced. In fact, the mind who is always after explanations is an afraid mind. Because of great fear, he wants everything to be explained. He cannot go into anything before it is explained to him. With explanation, he feels now the territory is familiar. Now he knows the geography. Now he can move with the map and the guidebook and the timetable. He never is ready to move in an unknown territory, uncharted, without map, without guide. But life is like that. And no map is possible because life goes on changing. Every moment it is new. There is nothing old under the sun, I say to you. Everything it is new. It is a tremendous dynamism. An absolute movement. Only change is permanent. Only change never changes. Everything else goes on changing. So you cannot have a map. By the time the map is ready, it is already out of date. By the time the map is available, it is useless. The life has changed its tracks. The life has started playing a new game. You cannot cope with life with maps because it is not measurable. And you cannot cope with life with guidebooks because guidebooks are possible only if things are stagnant. Life is not stagnant. It is a dynamism. It is a process. You cannot have a map about. It is not measurable. It is an immeasurable mystery. Don't ask for explanation. That's why many times when you ask questions and I answer them, because this is part of the agreement of this mad game. You will ask and I will answer. But never take my answers as explanations. They are not. They are simply introductions for the mystery, prefaces for the mystery, seductions for the mystery. They are not really answers. My answers are not answers. My answers are simply to help you to come out of your questions and start living. An answer is answer when it simply explains your question and you are satisfied that you have got now some information that you were needing, that your question is no more there. Now the place that the question was occupying is occupied by the answers. My answers are not answers that way. They will help you to drop the question, but they are not going to answer the question. And once the question is dropped, you will find no answer occupying its place. There will be no answer. My whole way of answering is such that I answer and yet I never answer. I answer so that you don't feel offended. Your question is to be respected. I respect it. But I cannot answer it because life has no answers. And this I call the maturity of a mind, when somebody comes to the point and looks at life without any questions and simply dives into it with courage, fearlessness. The second question, dreams are unreal, but I have heard and read that the mother of Mahavira had seen 9 white elephants in her dreams before Mahavira's birth. Then what does it mean? And what is the use of answering the dreams of questions? Dreams are unreal, but so is your life. Dreams are unreal, but that is what your life is. Your life is just a dream because you are fast asleep. Can't you hear yourself snoring? You are fast asleep. Whatsoever you call your life is just a dream seen with open eyes. You see 2 types of dreams. One with closed eyes, one with open eyes. But both are dreams. You said dreams are unreal, but I have heard and read that the mother of Mahavira had seen 9 white elephants in her dreams before Mahavira's birth. Your reading is a dream, your hearing is a dream. Whatsoever you have heard about Mahavira has nothing to do with Mahavira. It is your dream. And just look, Mahavir's mother dreamed of 9 white elements. First it is a dream, and then about a white elephant. Dream in a dream. White elephant. The story is beautiful. It says life is just like a china box within box. You go on, just like an onion, you peel it, another layer, you peel it, another layer, box within box. First, Mahavira's being born is a dream. Then being born out of a mother, another dream. Then the mother dreams. And then the mother dreams about white elephants. Look at the whole absurdity of it. And then there are stupid people who start analyzing these dreams. And they have made much fuss about it. Jainas say that whenever a Tirthankara is born, a particular series of dreams has to happen to the mother. And if those dreams have not happened, then the man is not a Tirthankara. So all the mothers had to dream. Remember, 24 Tirthankaras have been in India, and all the mothers of all the Tirthankaras had to repeat the same dream. It is a must. It is a legal thing. You cannot avoid it. If you don't dream, your son cannot be a Tirthankara. When my mother started dreaming, I said, stop. There is no need. I am not going to fulfill any legal and formal things. There is no need to dream about white elephantas. You can rest. Foolish people go on finding foolish things, but they decorate them very well. Now you ask, then what does it mean? It means nothing. It simply means that you are more interested in dreams than in reality. Now people are not interested in Mahavira as such. If Mahavira's mother has forgotten to dream these dreams, Jainas would not have accepted him as 24th Tirthankar. That was one of the most important things to be decided. You may not know it. There were few other people who were claiming that they are Tirthankaras. In the time of Mahavira, there were 8 persons who were claiming that they are also Tirthankaras. And it was a great problem how to decide. Because no criterion exists, so people have to invent such foolish criterions. It was only Mahavira's mother, the story says, who had dreamed these dreams. Gosala's mother erred. Poor Gosala suffered for it. Mahavira's mother must have been very clever. She must have planned everything very beautifully. Or at least Mahavira's astrologers. Because the mother died, immediately giving birth. In fact, I don't see that she ever told anybody about her dreams. She died immediately, but that too is a point. Jainas say when a Tirthankara is born, the mother dies immediately. They have made things for the mother so difficult. Now it must have been a pure accident. Gosala's mother lived. These things are not allowed. Gosala suffers because the mother lives. Mahavira's mother dies. Now these are foolish criterions. They don't see Mahavira directly. They are looking for other indications. When Jesus was there, Jews were asking questions because he has to fulfill the prophecies in the Old Testament, whether they are fulfilled or not. Jesus is there. In reality, standing before them, they are not concerned about Jesus. They are concerned about the prophecies in the Old Testament. If they are fulfilled, then he is the right man. If they are not fulfilled, then he is not the right man. How foolish humanity can go. Jesus is there. That is not enough proof of anything. No. And Jews denied, because Jews think he has not fulfilled all the criterions. They had to crucify him because they thought he is just a charlatan, a deceiver. He has not fulfilled all the prophecies. And Christians go on proving that he has fulfilled. Nor it becomes just a verbal game of argumentation, of logic. The reality is completely forgotten. Look at the real. If Mahavir is there, whether the mother dreamed of white elephants or black elephants, dreamed or didn't dream, that doesn't matter. Whether she lived or died doesn't matter. These are all irrelevant things. If Mahavir is there, look directly. His presence will be enough proof. And if that is not the proof, then there is no need to bother about other proofs. Then what other proofs can do? And what is the use of answering the dreams of questioners? because the questioners have only dreams. They don't have yet a real life. By answering their questions, I will be pulling them out of their mud of dreams. I am not interested in their dreams. I am interested in the consciousness that is dreaming. That consciousness is not a dream. It is dreaming. It is under dream, but it is not a dream. It is a reality, and it has to be pulled out of the dreaming state. So whatsoever devices are needed, I go on using. If sometimes I feel analyzing the dream will help you to come out of it, then I analyze it. But remember, always and always, I am not interested in the dream. I am not a psychoanalyst. But if I feel that by dissecting the dream, I will be able to make you aware that you are not the dream, that you are the witness to it, then I dissect it. The reality is not in the dream, the reality is in the dreamer. And the dreamer has to be awakened. I function like an alarm clock. The third question, for people who have been so clouded by lies and deceptions in the waking state, can remembering dreams, reenacting and experiencing them in the waking state be a useful method? The first step on the path of higher consciousness and truth? Can this method hasten the thirst for God until the point comes when the dreaming mind is dropped? Yes, to a limited extent it can be of great help. But remember, only to a limited extent. Otherwise, people are such that first they waste their time in dreaming, then they can waste their time in enacting those dreams in the waking state. Then they can waste their time on some psychoanalyst coach talking about their dreams and the psychoanalyst analyzing them. Then dream becomes too much important. That much importance should not be given to it. There is a great need of a shift of consciousness from the content to the container. Yes, for a time being, dreams can be used. Enacting them will be useful. If in the night you have seen a dream, then in the morning enacting it can be of tremendous help. Because in the night you were asleep. The dream was there. The message was there. The message was delivered by the unconscious, but the conscious was fast asleep. So it was as if you were drunk and somebody called you and you took the phone somehow and you listened. But you cannot remember exactly what was the message. You were drunk. The message was delivered. The unconscious has delivered a certain message. That's what a dream is. A packaged message from the unconscious that you are doing something wrong, that you are moving against nature, that you are going against me, that you are going against yourself. A warning from the unconscious that enough is enough. Stop. Come back home. Be natural. Be more spontaneous. Don't be lost in social formalities and moralities. And don't become a fake. Be real. But the message is delivered. You are asleep. In the morning, you cannot even exactly remember. Have you watched it? When you wake up in the morning, for few seconds, some fragments of the dream float in the consciousness. Just few seconds. Not more than 30 seconds, or at the most 60 seconds, 1 minute. Then they are gone. You have washed your face, taken a cup of tea, finished with the night. You don't remember now. And even when you awake in the morning, only very fragmentary things are there. And that too, the tail parts of the dream. Because when you dream in one way. You started a dream at 5 o'clock in the morning. Then you went into it. 6 o'clock you woke up. That was the end part of the dream. As if you have been seeing a film and only you awake at the end part. So you remember the end part of the dream, not the beginning, not the middle. And then you have to go upstream. If you want to recollect the dream, you have to move in the reverse order, as if one is reading a book backwards. It is very difficult. And then one thing more, when you are conscious, you again start interfering with the dream content. You don't allow the whole message to be received. Many things you will drop. If you have murdered your mother in the dream, you will drop. You may not remember it. You may not allow it to become conscious. Or, at the most, you will allow it in a very deep disguise. You have murdered somebody else. Or, if you have lived in a community which values non-violence too much, you may not even remember that you murdered. That part will simply disappear. We listen only to that which we can listen and we are prepared to listen. I have heard, as he lay on his deathbed, he spoke, "Sarah, I want you should know before I die that Ginsberg, the tailor, owes me $200. And Morris, the butcher, owes me $50. And Klein, next door, owes me $300. His wife turned to the children and said, "What a wonderful man your father is. Even when he is dying, he has got the brains to realize who owes him money." The old man continued, "And Sarah, I want you to also know that I owe the landlord $100. To which his wife cried, "Ho ho, now he is getting delirious. Whatsoever you want to hear is right. Otherwise, ho ho." Then you immediately become disconnected. You will remember the dream. Now the mechanism has to be understood. The dream is a message from the unconscious to the conscious, because conscious is doing something which the unconscious feels is unnatural. And unconscious is always right, remember. Because unconscious is your nature. Conscious is cultivated by the society. It is a conditioning. Conscious means society inside you. It is a trick of the society. The conscious is doing something which the unconscious feels is too much against nature, and the unconscious wants to give a warning. In the morning, when you will remember, again you will remember from the conscious. Again the conscious will interfere. Whatsoever is against it will not be allowed. Whatsoever is sweet will be allowed. But that is not the point. The bitter part was the real message. but try it. What they use in psychodrama that can be helpful. Rather than remembering a dream, reliving a dream is more useful. And both are different. When you remember from the conscious. When you relive from the total. In reliving, there is more possibility the unconscious will again be able to give some messages. For example, you dreamed in night that you are walking on a road. You go on walking and walking and walking, and the road never ends. The non-ending road creates tremendous fear inside. Because anything non-ending, and the mind cannot cope with it. The mind becomes afraid. Non-ending, it looks very boring. You go on, you go on, and you go on. And the road is non-ending. You become tired, you become frustrated, you are fed up, you fall down, but the road goes on and on and on. You have limitations and the road seems to be unlimited. For example, if you dream such a dream, many people dream about it because there is a great message in it. The famous Russian author Maxim Gorky used to dream it many times. He says in his life it was one of the most important dreams, repeated continuously, almost every month, the same dream. It must have a great message, otherwise it won't be repeated. And it is repeated that simply shows Gorky never understood it. Once you understand a dream, once the message is delivered, the dream stops. If a dream is continuously repeated, that simply shows that you have not understood, and the unconscious goes on knocking at your doors. It wants you to understand it. Remembering is one thing. You can close your eyes and remember the dream. It will be as if you are seeing a film, a movie. Reliving it is totally different. You create the whole situation. You visualize the whole situation. It is not a dream on the screen. You relive it. Again you are on the roads. Look around. Close your eyes when you remember it. Look around. What type of roads? Trees are there, or it is a desert? What trees? Sun is there in the sky, or it is a night? Visualize it. Stand on the roads and visualize it, and let it be as colorful as possible, because the unconscious is very colorful. The conscious is just black and white. The unconscious is very psychedelic. So let it be colorful. See the greenery of the trees, the redness of the flowers, the brightness of the stars. Feel the road, the touch underneath your feet. Feel the road, rough, smooth, dead, alive. Every road has its own individuality. Smell. Standing there, smell. What type of smell? Has it rained just now? And a delicate smell from the earth is arising? Or the flowers have bloomed and the fragrance is there? Feel the breeze, whether it is cool or warm. Then start moving, as if you are moving in reality. It is not on the screen of the memory. You are reliving it. And through this sensitiveness of taste, touch, air, feel, coolness, warmth, greenery, colors, it becomes again real. Again the unconscious will start giving you messages. They can be of tremendous value. But there is a limit to it. Try to understand this way, but always remember that whether dream is seen in the night or relived in the day, it is a dream. And below the unconscious or beyond the unconscious is still another door of your being that has to be opened. Freud and the Freudians think that man is finished with conscious and unconscious. Man is not finished with conscious and unconscious. There is a super conscious element also. And that is truer. So don't think that the conscious is the only mind. Before Freud, it was thought conscious is the only mind. When Freud for the first time introduced the concept of unconscious, he was laughed at, ridiculed, because people said, what nonsense, how mind can be unconscious. Mind means consciousness, and they were linguistically true. How can you call mind unconscious? If it is unconscious, it is not mind. If it is mind, it is conscious. Of course, their grammar was right and their language was true, but existentially they were wrong. And Freud, by and by, became victorious. Truth always wins. Now, another layer has to be introduced in the world of psychology. That layer is of the superconscious. Psychologists will again be against it. They will say, what nonsense you are talking. You are bringing religion into psychology. Somehow we have got rid of religion. Again from the back door you bring it in. But you cannot get rid of religion. Religion is not something accidental. It is very essential. You have to recognize it. And you have to recognize its claims. Man is conscious, unconscious, and superconscious. Man is a trinity. That is the meaning of the old concept of Trinity in Christianity, Judaism. In the East, we have the concept of Trimurti, three faces of God, three faces of being. Man is a triangle. This third has to be remembered. The questioner has asked, for people who have been so clouded by lies and deceptions in the waking state, can remembering dreams, reenacting and experiencing them in the waking state be a useful method? Yes, a useful method, but with a limited possibility. And rather than remembering, emphasize reliving. Can it be the first step on the path of higher consciousness and truth? Certainly, but only the first step. And never be lost in the first step. There are many people who become lost in the first step and then they never take the second. Then the first is useless. Unless the second happens, the first is meaningless. Only with the second, the first becomes relevant. With the third, the second becomes relevant. And only when you have achieved to the goal, your journey becomes relevant. Otherwise, it remains irrelevant. The relevance always comes from the beyond. The relevance is transcendental. So first, relive your dreams. It will be helpful. It will make you more alive. And then, start. Even in your dreaming, even while you are reliving, or when you are waking, walking on the streets, in ordinary waking state, start seeing yourself as a witness, not as a participant. as a watcher. The watcher, the observer, the seer, the witness is the real step which leads you into reality. It is beyond dream. The dreams can be helpful so that the grip of the dreams on your mind is loosened. But the real step is only when you have started becoming watchful. Try it the whole day. Whatsoever you are doing, remember that you are the watcher. Walking, remember the body is walking, you are the watcher. Eating, remember the body is eating, you are the witness. If it spreads all over your day, one day suddenly you will see in the dream also the watcher has a little possibility. And when in the dream also you can remember that I am just the watcher, then dreams disappear. And with the disappearance of the dreams, a new consciousness arises in you. That consciousness I call the super consciousness. And that consciousness is the goal of the psychology of the Buddhas. The fifth question: how can I come closer? What should I do? Let me tell you one anecdote. Help me, the man demanded of the rabbi. I have a wife and 12 children, and I cannot support them. Every year my wife gives me a new child. What should I do? Do? Screamed the rabbi. Have not you done enough? You ask me what should I do to come closer to you. Your doing is not going to help. Because by doing you become more of a doer. And the doer feeds the ego. And the ego is the barrier between me and you. By non-doing, you will come closer to me, not by doing. Not by willpower you can come closer to me, but only by surrendering. Only when you recognize that nothing can be done and you are helpless and you relax, suddenly you will find you have come closest to me. When you surrender, you come close to me. The mind goes on asking, what should I do? If you do something, that very doing will not allow you to move away from the ego. Let me tell you another anecdote. Old man Ginsberg was disgusted with his family. He told his family he was leaving them and going to Japan. The boys asked Papa, how will you get there? He said, don't worry, I will row there. They walked him to the dock and without their father seeing, tied a very long rope to his rowboat. He bid them all farewell and started rowing towards the horizon. They let him stay in the boat all night. But when the sun began to rise, they became nervous about his well-being. There was a tremendous fog, and the old man and the boat were not visible. The old man had been rowing away all night, when suddenly he heard a voice in the distance shouting, Abbe Ginsberg, are you all right? He turned towards the voice and shouted, who knows me in Japan? Now he thinks he has reached Japan just by rowing the whole night, and the boat is tied with a long rope. He has not gone anywhere. If you want to come close to me by doing something, then you may have a little long rope, but you will remain tethered to the soul. You cannot go far away. By doing, nobody can come close to a master. By doing, you can attain to things in the world, but by doing, you cannot attain anything in God. By non-doing, by a tremendous receptivity, passivity. You just leave it to me. You just enjoy being here. You dance, you sing, you celebrate. You forget this nonsense of coming closer. And you will be coming by your dance, by your singing, by your rejoicing. You will be coming close to me. The question is from Priya. She has asked today, but 3 weeks before I had given her a message to go every day to dance. Her question has come today, but to me it reached 3 weeks before. It may have reached to herself today. To her own conscious, it may have come today. But 3 weeks before, I suddenly felt a deep desire in her unconscious is arising to come close to me. And I sent her a message to go and dance. And she is dancing. And believe me, she is coming closer. By your dance, by your laughter, by your joy, you come close to me. Because in dance, you relax, the doer disappears. In singing, you are lost. Whenever you are lost, I can penetrate your being. Whenever you are there, then it is difficult. You are closed. The 6th question. I have heard sannyasins say that they are with you for some benefit to them. They have a motivation of enlightenment or something likewise. But I do not have any thoughts of enlightenment or any benefit which I may get by being with you. I just love to be in your presence without any motivation whatsoever. Please comment. Then why you are asking? In your question there is a motivation. You want me to say that good boy, you are absolutely right. It is you who are going to attain enlightenment and not the others, because you have no motivation. This is the motivation in asking the question. But remember, you cannot deceive me. Your words cannot deceive me. Your words cannot hide the motivation. Why you are asking to comment? If you are really enjoying being here, no comment is needed. If you are really in love with me, it is enough. Nothing else is needed. In love, there is no question. It is a non-questioning attitude. But you want me to say that this is the true way. You are on the right track. Soon enlightenment is going to happen to you. And others who are here with a motivation are going to miss. Let me tell you one anecdote. A Jewish couple found themselves in Florida, unable to find a room in a hotel. The only place left to stay in was a hotel that was notorious in its policy of not allowing Jews. The husband turned to his wife and said, "Becky, you keep your big mouth shut. Not one word is to come from your lips. Leave it to me. You will see I will talk a good English. The man at the desk will never know, and we will get a room." Sure enough, they walk up to the desk. They've asked for a room. The hotel clerk gives them the key to the room, and they are set. Becky says, "Dave, it is so hot. Maybe we can go down to the pool for a swim." Dave says, "Okay, but remember, not one word is to fall from your mouth." They walk down to the cabanas. Dave signals the cabana boy, and he sets up chairs and towels for them. Becky turns to Dave and asks, "Now can I go into the pool?" He answers, "Okay, but remember, not a syllable must you utter." Becky goes over to the edge of the pool and sticks one toe into the water, which is icy cold, and before she realizes what she is doing, she yells, "Iowa!" Whereupon everyone in the pool turns to her. Without blinking an eye, she adds, "Whatsoever that means." But you cannot deceive. Howsoever you put it, it will so. Motivation is such a thing, you cannot hide it. There is no way to hide it. There is no language to hide it. Motivation simply shows. Now, let me tell you this. This motivation may not be very conscious to you. You may not be very aware of it, but it is there. And I am not saying that something is wrong in it, and I am not trying to make you guilty about it. Always remember one thing. Never feel guilty about anything. It is natural to come with a motivation. Nothing is wrong in it. It is absolutely natural to come with a motivation. Otherwise, how you will come? Without motivation, only a madman can come here. Without motivation, how can you come? You must have some motivation to learn meditation, to have a more silent life, or to learn about love, to have more loving relationship, or to know what this life is all about, or to know what death is, or to know, is there something beyond death? Without motivation, you cannot come to me. So I accept it absolutely, and you have to accept it. You have come with motivation to me. Now, this is my work here to help you to drop the motivation. You come with motivation, that's your work. Without it, you cannot come. Then starts my work to help you to drop the motivation. Motivation brings you close to me, but then motivation itself becomes the obstacle. You have to come with a motivation, and then you have to learn to drop it. And when you drop it, suddenly you are not only close to me, you are one with me, because closeness is still a distance. In closeness also there is distance. However close you are distant. The real closeness is only when all distance and all closeness disappears. You are simply one with me. I am one with you. When we appear only as two, but we are not two. Become conscious of your motivation in asking this question, and that will help to drop it. Consciousness helps to drop. Anything you become conscious about, it starts slipping out of your hands. You cannot cling consciously. You cannot be angry consciously. You cannot be greedy consciously. You cannot be motivated consciously. Consciousness is such a mutation. It brings so much light into your being that darkness simply disappears. So the only thing to remember, don't be worried about others' motivations. That is none of your business. If they are motivated, they will suffer for it. They will create their hell. You simply be not concerned with it. You simply go on looking about your own motivations. You simply go on penetrating deeper and deeper why you are here. And never feel guilty if you have found a motivation. If you come across a motivation, it is natural. But when I say it is natural, I don't mean that it has to be there forever and ever. It is natural, but it has to go. When it goes, something supernatural starts happening. If you are not aware about it, and if you go on hiding it, then it will never go. And this may be a trick of the mind to look for motivation in others. You may be using others as scapegoats. This is one of the great psychological truths about human mind, that whatsoever you want to hide within yourself, you start projecting it on others. Whenever you start seeing something in somebody else, remember it as a message. Go immediately within words. It must be there. The other is functioning only as a screen. When you see anger in others, search for it within yourself. When you see greed in others, go in and dig it there, and you will find it there. When you see too much ego in others, just go inside, and you will find ego sitting there. The inside functions like a projector, and others become screens, and you start seeing films on others which are really your own tapes. The last question. I do not feel I am a man, yet I see a man's face in the mirror. A great insight has happened to you, a great realization. Let it sink deep. Let it become your constant awareness. No face is yours. All faces are false. Sometimes you had the face of a lion, and sometimes you had the face of a donkey, and sometimes you had the face of a tree, and sometimes the face of a rock. Now you have a face of a man or a woman, ugly, beautiful, white, black, but you don't have any face. Your reality is faceless. And that facelessness is what Zen people call the original face. It is not a face at all. When you were not born, what face you had then? When you will die, what face you will carry with yourself? This face that you look in the mirror will be dropped here, will disappear into the earth. dust unto dust. You will go faceless. You had come faceless. Right now, you don't have any face. The face is just a belief. You have believed in the mirror too much. And when you have come to realize this facelessness, you have seen the face of God. Enough for today.